He comes with a lot of hands, but arguably the best one, not even arguably, the best one is the Medusa hand. It's snakes. It's tiny snakes, but a hand. Hello friends, and enemies. It feels like lately we've been looking at a lot of Mezco, and that's because we've been looking at a lot of Mezco. And Mezco recently introduced a new Rumble Society character, so of course we're going to be taking a look at that. As with a lot of the other Rumble Society stuff, he comes with his own little personalized comic book pamphlet thingy, and we will take a look at that after we're done looking at the actual toy. The usual Mezco Rumble Society packaging, no metallic lunchbox style this time. It's the black box with the gold insignia, a shiny skull icon against black matte, shiny Rumble Society on the side. Warnings and such, ages 18 and up, not a toy for children, intended for adult collectors only. If you are under 18 and you're playing with this, you will be sent to the Mountains of Madness. Their boxes are always so nice. Another cool thing about the Rumble Society stuff is that when you open it up, there's usually an illustration of the character you're getting, greeting you right out at the front. Alright, here he is. Of course he's a Mezco, so he comes with a bunch of stuff like always. I said in my last Mezco review that it's always kind of daunting to look at these because they come with so much stuff, and this is going to be another long one, guys, so buckle up. Okay, so before we start to go over this figure, I think it's important character design-wise to understand who he is and what he's supposed to be. And luckily, the comic addresses that. So on this page, you basically get a little blurb about Atticus Doom and what his whole deal is. When famed explorer A.J. Malum dies while discovering the lost city of Relay, his path as the Necromagus Prime starts. Now as the weird occult private eye, Atticus Doom, he is charged with protecting the realms of reality tethered to the Necroverse by stolen eldritch powers. So he's like a Cthulhu guy. So basically what we have here is a hero. We don't really know what his deal is completely. Based on Lovecraftian lore. And that is my jam. I already like sea monsters. Spooky sea monsters are even better. There have been a lot of, skull guys from Mezco recently. Or not even just recently, but throughout the ages. The Mezco ages. There have been a lot of skull guys. So here's another skull guy. And it looks cool. It's not like a normal skull. I especially love that his eye sockets are so huge that we could just see inside them. The nose and the mouth are just backed with black, but even those are recessed a little bit. On his turban, he has what they call the Leviathan particle, which is basically a kidney stone from the beast Leviathan. So big sea monster, basically. So he's got that on his turban, looks really cool. I love that flame effect, and we're going to get a lot of really neat effects in this set. Another cool thing is that his turban comes off, and beneath is a brain. Embedded in the brain is the philosopher's oculus, which gives him extra knowledge of alchemical properties, things like that. And his brain can come out too. The oculus is on a little ball, so it can be positioned around, I think. My fingernails are really dull, as you can see, so it's kind of hard for me to move it around. I'm also afraid of scraping it a little bit. There's not much to talk about as far as actual sculpt on the figure itself, except for the head portion, because he's pretty much decked out neck to feet in soft goods. But what we can see is really awesome. I love the paint on this skull. Bony and weathered. Looks like a skull. And of course, Mezco always does great with the soft goods. It's pretty impressive, especially at this really small scale. This guy is so fancy. This trench coat belt is on a wire, so that can be moved out of the way. I don't want to take his entire coat off all the way because it's usually kind of a pain to get them back on. But you can see he is very smartly dressed underneath. Got a sweet red sweater, a red cravat. Is that what that is? These buttons on the vest are plastic, which is surprising to me because I feel like usually Mezco would have gone full metal button, but not this time. So, as nondescript, and I don't really want to even say that because it's not really nondescript, it's just compared to a lot of the other Rumble Society characters, from here down looks a little plain. So as relatively nondescript as this guy looks, he more than makes up for it in the accessory department. You can give him all sorts of crazy things, so we're going to go through those. So in addition to his regular head, he's got this Mantle of Madness, which is basically him channeling part of Cthulhu and kind of transforming into his visage. So he gets a Cthulhu head, which is really cool. Kind of your standard looking Cthulhu head. I'm not saying that as an insult at all. It just looks like when you think of Cthulhu in popular culture, this is what you think of pretty much. It's spiky on the back. There are a lot of kind of blue veins throughout the green. Beautifully sculpted tentacles. Squinty red eyes. Someone woke him up and he's not happy. Cthulhu's whole thing is sleeping. and that's why he's my favorite elder god. In addition, I believe this ring of smoke is meant to go around his neck, so we will look at that in a minute and see if it'll actually do that and if I'm correct. I've been wrong a lot. So next up, and this is really cool, he's got a grimoire, or let's see what they call it. The Tamna Zaraza. Zaraza? The Tamna Zaraza. So basically a grimoire. Beautiful, tiny book. I really want this full-sized in real life. Seems to be backed with some kind of leather, maybe some sea monster leather like we saw in Captain Nemo. Shiny gold accents. This awesome insignia on the spine. I just love this. And even cooler is it opens up. And you know, some figures will come with books that open up and they'll maybe have like just 2 pages or maybe 3 or 4 pages. This has each individual page. I'm just like so stoked on this tiny book. I love it. Each page is separate. So you can flip through it, see some sort of some alchemical diagrams, some spooky nonsense. It kind of reminds me of Gravity Falls, journal number 3. A drawing of a skull and some flayed skin. Is that his? Just a lot of really cool tiny drawings in here. I love it. What are you doing? It does not end there. There are still lots of things to look at. Another thing he comes with is the Goblin Shillelagh. So this is a walking stick, but it's not an ordinary walking stick. This is adorned with the head of a goblin. And you guys know me. I don't like goblins. So if this guy killed a goblin and mounted its skull on a stick, I'm all for it. So apparently the goblin's spirit is still in the skull, and he and Atticus Doom communicate from time to time. And I don't think they get along. So not only is the skull super cool, the walking stick itself is carved with runes that look like they've been kind of accentuated in blood. Man, Mezco just comes up with cool stuff. Or, well, I think that this maybe... I know with Hawk P40, the airplane shark guy, that was a certain artist's conception, and Mezco took that and made it into a character. With the artist's permission, I assume, of course. Actually, this is all assumption. I don't know if that's true, but I think that's what I gathered from reading the supplemental material. And for this one, let's see. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent, but that's just how ADD do sometime. Yeah, let's see. A story by Mez Markowitz. So this character belongs to Mez. Wait. Mezco. Is Mez Markowitz the founder of Mezco? But then if you already own the character and you own the company, why would you need to say that the character was created by you? I'm putting way too much thought into this. You didn't come to hear me think out loud about stuff that I should probably already know. I know sometimes I sound like an idiot, but I'm just learning out loud, okay? He will come with this nebulous claw, which is really cool. It's apparently manifested from energy from the Crab Nebula, which is a little strange, like, are crabs living in the Crab Nebula? I don't think so, but it's, yeah, use your imagination, it's fine. Also, this really reminds me of, I mean, obviously it's Lovecraftian influences, but in My Hero Academia, that character Sun Eater, he can manifest whatever he eats, so if he ate a crab, he can manifest a crab claw. Kind of like that. Who's gonna make a Sun Eater figure with crab claws and octopus tentacles and stuff? Because someone needs to get on that. He's a good boy. Appropriately crusty. I love that it's red, like he's been cooked. I don't think, was that intentional? Maybe it's just to reinforce it as a crab claw, but it definitely looks really tasty. He comes with a lot of hands, but arguably the best one, not even arguably, the best one is the Medusa hand. It's snakes. It's tiny snakes, but a hand. Look at how adorable they are. We're just here to have a good time. So he can transform his hand into some snakes, some adorable little snakes. They're tiny little eyes. I can't get over how cute they are. And it's really neat that the snake texture extends down to the palm and the back of the hand. You've got some finer scales on the palm and some thicker scales up at the top of the hand. I think that's a really neat touch. Touch, hand, get it? So the second most important hand is the Cindered Palm. So with this hand he can summon souls from the Lake of Fire, which I assume is hell. And with the Cindered Palm you have this really neat fire effect. But the palm itself is really neat. It's got that charred, kind of lava-y look, translucent at the tips, kind of giving it an ethereal feel. Plug it into this fire effect, and that's gonna look pretty cool. So in addition to those, we've got 2 splayed hands, the grip hand, and a claw hand. He'll come with these 2 plug-in eye fire effects, which we'll take a look at in a moment. He'll come with 4 magic effects. So we've got the squid thingy that we saw on the front of the grimoire. Looks like maybe this is his insignia. It was also on the spine of the grimoire, surrounded by alchemical symbols. And 2 portal effects. And last but not least, accessory-wise, we've got the Cthulhu fraction. So a literal tentacle from Cthulhu teleported to Atticus Doom's body. So I really like that they gave us 2 separate tentacle options. You've got a curled tentacle and one that's lashing out. And I love the detail toward the bottom of the tentacles of crusty barnacles. I'm a big fan of Lovecraft, big fan of sea monsters, big fan of tentacles? No, that doesn't sound right. Say something like that, the internet's gonna run wild with it. Of course, in addition to all that, it wouldn't be a Mezco without a neat stand. So you know the drill as far as Mezco stands go. You can stand on this peg here, or you can pop it out, put in this rod. I guess let's look at articulation. Pretty good up. It helps that he doesn't have any hair to get in the way. Ooh. When I went to go down, his head just popped right off. That's okay. His cravat's in the way. Lot of tilt though, look at that. Nani? I'll never do that again, I'm sorry. Full rotation. Up. Rotation on that arm. You're gonna have to kind of rotate it underneath all the fabrics though. Good range on the elbow. Ball joint on the hand. Really nice crunch forward. Back, not so much because you can feel the red sweater underneath kind of pulling. Very nice high kick. And his pants are loose enough that you can do this with no problem. To the side, he's an acrobatic guy. He's got a lot more movement than I thought he would. And the joint for his ankle is hidden underneath the boot, so his foot can go all sorts of ways. Yeah, articulation on this guy is a lot better than what I was expecting. The last one I looked at was Captain Nemo, and his was a little more limited because he had long hair, a long beard, he had a stiff bodysuit, a lot of accoutrements that kind of got in the way. But this guy, he can do a lot of stuff. So let's kind of mess around with him and see what kind of alternate looks we can get. First off, I want to put these eyeballs in. I've been wanting to do this since I opened them up. That looks pretty cool in conjunction with the Leviathan stone thing. If we do that along with the cindered palm, I bet that would look pretty cool. So to replace his hands, kind of pull up his clothes a little bit, pop off the hand, gently plug the new piece in. And you do need to be gentle because the pegs on his joints are pretty small. I want to try out this ring of smoke too. It's meant to go around his neck. Ooh, that looks cool. His eyeballs fell out. The full effect is really nice. I love the way this looks. When this was announced and I saw all the things that he came with and that he was like a Lovecraftian fellow, I was so excited, and it hasn't let me down. We haven't even gotten into the Lovecraft stuff, so let's go ahead and do that. One thing you need to be careful of are the smaller pieces, like the flaming eyeballs. You don't want those to get lost. And I'm sure they knew what they were doing when they called it the Mantle of Madness, because this part of an octopus's body is called the mantle. So very clever, Mezco. It takes a little bit of work to get the tentacle on because the pegs for his wrists are so small. And the tentacle is kind of recessed a little bit where they plug in, so it keeps wanting to fall back, kinda. He's all Cthulhu'd out. But honestly, as much as I love the Cthulhu stuff and the Lovecraft stuff, I think I like his normal skull head better, which surprises me. I thought I would like this look better, but I don't. I mean, it still looks really cool, but... So I want to try out this effect arm. The plug for this piece seems to be a little bit too large for the arm peg. It's a little loose in there. I'm afraid to touch it. And so then what you can do is attach whatever hand you want to attach in this portal effect. And he comes with a secondary stand for the magic effect. It takes a little adjusting because it gets kind of heavy and it wants to topple over a little bit. And the connection points aren't the sturdiest. And I keep dropping this little tiny corner part, and it's really hard to see once you drop it because it's clear and it blends in with these surroundings. Come on. So yeah, not a perfect setup. I'm also not a fan of like having to have separate stands for effects and stuff, but I don't know how else they would do this, and it looks really cool, so. But if you don't want to use the portal hands, there's plenty of other magic effects you can use, and they do look cool set up right next to him. Oh, I also forgot to mention that this tentacle arm does have a wire inside, so you can pose it. It doesn't have to be straight out. I meant to mention that before, but I got carried away. So for comparison purposes, Atticus Doom is very short, especially when compared to the likes of Captain Nemo, who won't even fit in my frame. And we determined our last video that Nemo seems to be like an average size dude. So Atticus Doom is a small guy. Let's compare him to someone probably more in his weight class, Doc Nocturnal. And you can see here, even compared to Doc Nocturnal, Atticus Doom is a pretty small guy. He's about the same width, he's a lithe figure, but even Doc Nocturnal has a little bit of height on him. So I don't know if Atticus Doom was a smaller guy before he got transformed into an undead eldritch terror. Maybe. But also, having all the flesh and stuff stripped from your bones probably makes you a little bit smaller. Here he is with heavy hitter Hawk P40, and Hawk is just huge in comparison. Can I eat your brains? What? And just for fun, here he is with Kingdom Hearts Bring Arts Riku. He stacks up pretty well. I'm kind of surprised at how good they look together. Is that weird? And of course, as I always like to do at the end of the Mezco reviews, is take a quick look at the extras they come with, the extra comics, or what have you. I really love this, if only for the adorable octopi on the cover. Look at how cute they are! So in this comic, we get the origin of Atticus Doom. We have some cool nods to other Mezco stuff, like here's an ad with Nemo in it. Awesome artwork. It's like an old pulp tale. Tales to Terrify. Look at how angry this old one is. And this illustration is really awesome. I love it. And that is on the stand. So that's really cool too. We've got a quick rundown of all his various parts. And then we've got an extra little comic exploring the origins of Doc Nocturnal. I also love this Nautilus ad. This ad is so fake we can't take it. Like as if they're going to create a to-scale Nautilus. And as always kind of teases for future releases on the back. Really cool. I love this stuff. So, Atticus Doom. I was looking forward to him a lot. I love the backstory. I love the character design. The Rumble Society stuff is so cool. Kind of creepy, cool character design stuff is what I'm into, so I really enjoy this. He's a little frustrating in some areas as far as like the pegs and stuff go, but he's got some really cool stuff, and he looks amazing. So is this my favorite Rumble Society character? It might be for the time being. So, likes and subscribes are very much appreciated. Comments are more than welcome, and I will see you guys on the next one.